How's my favorite branch doing?
How's my favorite squadron doing? Good afternoon, 6th Squadron. This is Flight Sergeant Scruggs, currently at my dining room table. But I saw the post on Facebook about the cool little challenge the squadron had put out. And the one that specifically caught my eye was about survival kits. Some of you might not know, I am a survival instructor. Certified through the cadet program, so that's pretty cool. So that definitely caught my attention right away. So I figured we're all stuck at home, might as well do a lesson on it. Make a video. It'll work. So I have my own survival kit laid out before me here, just off to the side right here. And I figured I'd just go through it with you guys and we can see what's what. So the essentials of a survival kit are to start a fire, to build a shelter, and to eventually be able to help you find food and be saved eventually, because no one wants to live in the woods for the rest of their lives. So I have all those items here. So we'll go through the essentials first, and then we'll go to some more add-on things that can make your life easier and more comfortable in the wilderness. So we'll start with fire, because fire is nice, keeps you warm at night, so you don't freeze. So I have here 3 things that can help you start a fire. One of them is tinder. It's basically just cotton, but it burns for about 5 minutes or so, so it'll let you just keep on burning it so you can get a fire started. In case you don't know, tinder is the very first step of making a fire. So you start with the tinder, and then you make small sticks called kindling, like those on fire, and then you add bigger logs and stuff called the fuel to be able to make an actual fire that'll keep you warm and cook your food. So you may be asking how to actually start the fire. Well, I have 2 ways here. I have what's called a fire starter. So basically, there's a wheel on top here, and inside there's a little piece of flint. So if I were to spin it, it would create sparks. I'm not going to do it because I don't have any water or anything around. But yeah, so basically it's super easy. You just give it a spin, sparks come out, and then it'll catch one of these and you'll start a fire. The other way is a little bit more challenging, but it'll also work. It's a signal mirror, which can be also used to help get you saved and signal for someone. You just reflect the light off at your rescuers or just so they can see you. But the other use for it is you can reflect sun off of it, and through it you see the little hole here, and it'll go onto the fire, kind of like using a magnifying glass to start the fire. So that's fire to begin with. And I'll put those to the side for now. Next, we're going to go over shelter. Shelter is very important because if you're in the wilderness and it starts to rain, you don't want to get soaked wet. Getting wet leads to getting cold, and getting cold leads to hypothermia, which if you're in the wilderness and you can't get any help, sometimes can lead to death because you're cold. So what I have here is basically like a fire blanket you see in school. There's a lot of different things these can be used for. You can hang it over a string for a shelter to make an A-frame or a hoochie. Or it can be used for a blanket if you have something else to make a shelter with. A shelter would be more important than a blanket unless you're like absolutely freezing. A lot of survival is just making sure you meet your immediate needs. Whatever needs to happen now, is what you need to do to be able to stay alive. But it's a nice, it's big blanket, big just piece of fabric. Not really fabric, more like a plastic, polyester kind of thing. But you just like hang it over a stick. If you have some string, you can make a hoochie, like I said. There's a bunch of different things you can do with it, and it'll help you make your shelter. Next, we're gonna go over food because I like food. Everyone likes food, especially when you're in the wilderness. Everyone wants to eat. What I have here is a little fishing kit. It's just in a little bottle. It has hooks, lines, something called a sinker, and swivels. All of those are just little pieces of fishing equipment, but basically in here, it's everything you need to fish. Catch a fish, and you can eat the fish, so you can survive. Yeah, so that's how I would catch some food. There's obviously other ways to catch food. You can use snares, you can use traps and different things, but the easiest thing to put inside a survival kit is either snare wire, which I don't have in my kit, or a fishing kit. It's good to have them both, because if you're not near water, then my fishing kit's not going to do me much good, right? So yeah, snare wire, fishing kit, just something to help you catch food. Next, stuff to get you rescued, because I like being rescued. I don't want to stay outside for the rest of my life. I would like someone to come save me. So what I have here, it's just a whistle. You blow into it. Makes sound. You have to blow into it pretty hard, but it's a really high-pitched sound. Someone hears it, they'll probably come check it out. Then they'll find you, and hopefully they are not in the same position as you, and they can save you. Then the other thing we talked about before is the signal mirror. So you just catch the sunlight on it. And this would be more used for like if there was a helicopter above looking with the search and rescue. You could do this, and hopefully they'd see the light. Obviously, you would never want to do that unless you're in a survival situation, because it can be dangerous. But if you're in a survival situation, it's very useful. There's a few other miscellaneous things that I would still call essential. Here I have my multi-tool. So in here, there's a bunch of different things. So first I have pliers, and I have my knife. A knife is one of your most important, if not the most important, survival tools you're going to have. You can make so much stuff, whether it's whittling wood into a spear to catch food, or to cut string, or there's endless possibilities with a knife. In here I also have a saw blade, which is helpful. This wouldn't cut through anything big like a log or anything, but it'd be helpful for gathering smaller sticks and stuff like that. Then I have a few other just miscellaneous tools. I have a can opener and a bottle opener here. Have a screwdriver. I have some other screwdrivers. I have a file. It's good to have one. But if you don't want to get one of these, you for sure at least need to get like a little pocket knife for your survival kit. If you're gonna make one, you might as well put a knife in there. It'll help you out. Next, navigation is super important when you're lost in the woods, because you want to know where you are, so that if you are able to get in contact with someone somehow, you can tell them where you are, or better yet, you can find your own way home. So what I fear is a little compass. It's not much. It's about the size of a dime. You don't have to have a big one. You just lie it flat, and it'll point you towards north. And if you have a map, then that's even better. I don't have a map in mine yet, but yeah. So compasses, good. Duct tape. I heard duct tape fixes everything. Duct tape can survive pretty much anything as well. If it's a hole in something in your shelter, you can patch that up, or you can hold two things together. There's really a lot of stuff you can do with some duct tape. The other thing I added here was some candles. So candles, when you're starting a fire, probably should include this in the fire stuff earlier, but oh well. it's really helpful because you don't have to go through so many rounds of lighting something. Sometimes when you light something, you'll get a little bit of a flame and then it'll go out. So I like to have candles so that when you have lit something on fire and if you just a little flame, you can light one of these really fast and then you'll have a flame for a little while longer so you don't have to waste your flint or your matches or whatever you're using to start the fire. It's also easier if your flame goes out, then you don't have to restart it. So all this stuff I keep in a little waterproof bag here. You can get them pretty much anywhere. Walmart, Canadian Tire, anywhere that sells any kind of like outdoors equipment, camping equipment. Basically, it's just waterproof, so my tinder doesn't get wet, so nothing gets wet. Because wetness, like I said before, leads to coldness, and coldness leads to not good things. Speaking of wetness, this is a poncho. It'll keep you from getting wet, obviously. You know what a poncho is, but it can also be used for other things. It can be used to collect water. It can be used as another shelter piece. It can be used as so many different things if there's not rain. Obviously, if there's rain, you want to wear it so that you don't get wet. But yeah, poncho. Stick that in your survival kit. This is a first aid kit. Inside, I just have some bandages, some gauze, some isopropyl wipes, just to like alcohol wipes, just to clean out wounds, and just some basic first aid stuff. So if you accidentally cut yourself, or if you, I don't know, step on a stick, something, and injure yourself, you have a way to take care of that. Then here is something that is super handy. I'm going to see and talk to someone if we can get these for the Squadron SFTX, but it's basically called a survival Bible. So what's in here is there's lots of different stuff. There's signals, the different types of signals. You probably can't read this all too well, so I'm not gonna go through the entire book. But there's lots of different stuff. There's nutrition. There's different plants. There's different bugs. There's different camp crafts you can do. Camp crafts are just like things that'll help you survive. So say like a chair or a cooking pot holder made of sticks or a wash basin holder. So many different things you can do for camp crafts. There's a weather chart. There's a chart that shows you how to set up a camp properly. There's all the different kind of knots, and well, not all the different kind of knots, obviously, but there's all the survival knots in here. What else is in here? There's so much stuff in here. There's some navigation stuff in here. There's some radio stuff in here. There's signals in here and blazing techniques. Blazing is when you're walking through the forest, you want to make sure you leave a trail, like just not breadcrumbs. Just different stuff that can show you how to get back to your camp, or that can show search and rescue workers where you are. Yeah, so that's a fair bit of stuff in there. Like I said, I'm going to work out, see if we can get some of those for the squadron. I'm not sure, but work on that. Then I have a hammock in here. It can be used for a hammock, or it could be used as more material for shelter or anything. Just something to put in there. Just some comfort. So that's all I have in my survival kit. So what I am missing. I am missing a snare wire, a map, and some form of illumination, like a flashlight. But a survival kit just to absolute necessaries to survive, plus a little more to help you be comfortable and survive well. Is most of the stuff in here. Well, all the stuff in here, plus snare wire, a map, and like a flashlight. Maps are kind of hard because you never know where you're gonna get lost. But you should have like a local map, or if you're going somewhere where there's even a chance of you like getting lost and having to survive, then you should have a map of that area as well. Yeah, that's about it for me. I hope that was informative. And I hope everyone's doing well, and hope to see you guys soon.